If you're a diehard Browns fan and love breaking down the game like we do, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a blitz. The news hit Cleveland like a thunderclap this morning, and the echoes are still shaking the walls of Berea. Kevin Stefanski, head coach of the Cleveland Browns, reportedly exploded during a closed-door meeting, directing his fury straight at quarterback SHEDEUR Sanders. Witnesses inside the facility claim Stefanski slammed his clipboard, pointed toward the locker room, and shouted, "He's not playing for me anymore." For a team that's been searching for stability under center for what feels like forever, this outburst raises eyebrows and pulses across the entire NFL landscape. SHEDEUR, son of the legendary Deion coach Prime Sanders, was expected to bring new energy and swagger to the Browns' offense this season. Instead, it seems he's brought controversy, ego, and now a major power struggle. According to insiders, Stefanski's frustration had been brewing for weeks. Missed meetings, questionable attitude, and a growing sense that the young quarterback wasn't buying into the coach's discipline system. This wasn't just a bad practice or a single heated moment. This was the explosion everyone feared was coming. And if the reports are true, it might have just blown up the Browns' locker room chemistry beyond repair before the season even hits mid-stride. Behind the scenes, tensions between Stefanski and SHEDEUR didn't appear overnight. Sources close to the organization say the relationship began cracking the moment Sanders arrived in Cleveland. The coaching staff loved his raw arm talent, charisma, and the marketing buzz he brought with him. But Stefanski wanted commitment and quiet leadership, something SHEDEUR wasn't exactly known for. Players described the quarterback's vibe as confident, bordering on cocky, often dismissing play-calling corrections with a shrug or a smirk. Stefanski, a man known for his calm and methodical approach, reportedly lost his patience as the weeks passed. Rumors say he tried several one-on-one conversations, urging SHEDEUR to take ownership of the offense, study film harder, and tighten his fundamentals. But instead of progress, what Stefanski got was pushback. Insiders claim that during a recent practice, SHEDEUR audibly changed plays at the line of scrimmage, ignoring Stefanski's direct calls, something no Browns quarterback had ever dared to do under his watch. That single act, more than anything, might have been the spark that set off the fiery declaration, "Not on my team, not anymore." To understand the depth of this rift, you've got to look at how Stefanski operates. Since taking over in 2020, he's built a culture around accountability, silence over spectacle, and an old-school respect for the grind. Players who buy and thrive, those who don't, usually find themselves on the next flight out of Cleveland. But SHEDEUR Sanders isn't just any player. He's a brand, a social media phenomenon, a walking headline. Wherever he goes, cameras follow. That's part of the reason the Browns front office was so divided over drafting him in the first place. Stefanski reportedly wanted a developmental quarterback who'd learn quietly behind a veteran. The front office, eager for buzz and jersey sales, pushed hard for SHEDEUR. They saw dollar signs. Stefanski saw distraction. Now, it's all coming to a head. When a head coach says, "He's not playing for me," it's more than frustration. It's a declaration of war between philosophy and hype. And right now, that war's spilling out for everyone to see. What makes this situation even more fascinating is how polarizing it's become among Browns players themselves. Some teammates are reportedly siding with Stefanski, emphasizing that discipline and structure are what keep the locker room from collapsing. Veterans like Myles Garrett and Nick Chubb, who've seen countless quarterbacks come and go, are said to be quietly backing the coach's decision, believing that no single player, no matter how famous, should be above the system. But younger players, particularly those from college programs that idolize Deion Sanders and the new wave of flashy confidence, are standing by SHEDEUR. They see him as the future, as someone unafraid to challenge old norms. That internal split, if real, could fracture the team's chemistry beyond repair. The Browns have been here before. High hopes, off-field drama, and sudden implosions. But this time, the dynamic feels different. This isn't about bad play or poor results. It's about identity, ego, and control. Stefanski's outburst may have drawn a line in the sand that no one in Cleveland can step back from. From a football standpoint, this clash could have massive ripple effects. If Stefanski truly benches SHEDEUR, the Browns' offensive plan for the year might need a complete overhaul. Sanders was supposed to be the dynamic, dual-threat weapon to energize a conservative offense. Now, backup quarterbacks are getting more reps in practice, and whispers are already circulating that the front office might intervene to protect their investment. Some analysts suggest Stefanski's comment was more emotional than final, a heat-of-the-moment reaction meant to send a message. But others believe this is the start of something much bigger, a philosophical stand by a coach who refuses to let celebrity trump discipline. The Browns are no strangers to chaos, but even by their standards, this feels seismic. Imagine the headlines if Stefanski sticks to his words and benches SHEDEUR indefinitely. That's not just a football move, it's a franchise-defining statement about what kind of team the Browns want to be. Even around the league, reactions are pouring in. Coaches, players, and analysts are taking sides, and social media has already turned this into the story of the week. Some say Stefanski's old-school methods are outdated in a modern NFL that thrives on personality and flair. Others argue he's one of the few remaining coaches willing to stand up for accountability in a league full of egos. Meanwhile, Deion Sanders himself hasn't spoken publicly, but you can imagine how that conversation's going to sound behind closed doors. The father who's built his entire coaching empire around confidence, style, and swagger isn't going to sit quietly while someone calls his son uncoachable. It's a powder keg waiting to blow. The Browns might have thought they were signing a quarterback, but what they really got was a storyline too big to control. And now, as Stefanski's words echo through every sports talk show in America, one thing's clear. Cleveland's season just got a whole lot more complicated. The Browns' facility in Berea has become a fortress of silence, but the rumors are deafening outside its gates. Reporters stationed near the practice fields described tense body language, hushed conversations, and a head coach walking around with a stare cold enough to freeze Lake Erie. Stefanski's declaration, "He's not playing for me," might have been private, but it spread through the locker room like wildfire. Players who used to laugh and joke with SHEDEUR now keep their distance, unsure which side to pick. Some insiders claim Stefanski has already started installing a game plan without his rookie quarterback, focusing instead on simplified schemes for the backup. The decision sends a clear message: accountability first, talent second. Yet in the NFL, talent is everything. Can a team really afford to sideline a player who represents both their future and their fanbase's excitement? That's the question haunting the front office tonight. Sources say there's growing tension between Stefanski and the general manager, with ownership caught in the middle. If the standoff continues, Cleveland could be facing a split far bigger than just coach versus quarterback. It could be a full-blown organizational crisis. What complicates everything is that SHEDEUR isn't taking the benching quietly. Word is, the young quarterback has been venting privately to teammates and even posting cryptic messages on social media, nothing direct, but enough to fuel speculation. One post showed him wearing headphones with the caption, "Silence speaks volumes." Fans went wild, debating whether it was a shot at Stefanski or just his usual swagger. Either way, perception matters, and perception right now is chaos. The Browns' PR team is reportedly scrambling, urging both sides to tone things down. But the damage might already be done. SHEDEUR's camp believes he's being singled out unfairly, arguing that plenty of rookies make mistakes without being humiliated. Stefanski's supporters, on the other hand, insist the coach has every right to demand discipline, especially from a player representing the future of the franchise. The culture clash is palpable, a new school player versus an old school coach, each trying to prove their way is the right one. And in Cleveland, those kinds of battles rarely end peacefully. Inside team meetings, the tension has reached a breaking point. Sources describe an atmosphere where even routine discussions feel like walking through a minefield. Stefanski, known for his measured tone, has reportedly become more direct, demanding full effort and no distractions. SHEDEUR, meanwhile, sits quietly, rarely speaking unless called upon. Some teammates have tried to bridge the gap, but there's a sense that trust has been shattered. The quarterback position requires chemistry between coach and player, a mutual belief that they're on the same page. Right now, that page might as well be ripped in half. Players have noticed Stefanski spending more time with the offensive line and running backs, perhaps signaling a shift toward a run-heavy offense that minimizes quarterback involvement. If that's the case, it's a massive philosophical shift from what the Browns envisioned when they drafted Sanders. The irony? They wanted fireworks. Instead, they got smoke. The season's still young, but the drama feels old already. If things don't change soon, someone's going to have to leave, and no one's sure whether it'll be the coach or the quarterback. Enjoying the content so far? Smash that like button and drop your take in the comments. We want to hear what you think about the Browns this season. National media outlets have pounced on the story, spinning every quote and rumor into a headline. Sports talk shows are buzzing, with analysts dissecting every angle. Some blame STEFANSKI for failing to adapt to a new generation of players who value expression as much as execution. Others think SHEDEUR needs a reality check, arguing that confidence without humility is a dangerous mix in the NFL. The debate has become cultural, traditional football values versus modern personality-driven branding. ESPN segments are calling it the STEFANSKI standard versus the Sanders swagger. It's entertainment gold, but organizational poison. The Browns, a franchise perpetually teetering between hope and heartbreak, have once again found themselves at the center of a storm. The sad truth? The longer this drags on, the less it becomes about football and the more it turns into a test of pride. And pride, as history shows, has broken more teams than talent ever could. Behind closed doors, ownership is reportedly considering intervention. Rumors swirl that a meeting between STEFANSKI, the general manager, and ownership is scheduled to address the situation head-on. Firing the head coach mid-season seems unlikely, but not impossible, especially if SHEDEUR's camp starts pushing for a trade or benching leads to locker room mutiny. STEFANSKI's defenders argue that firing a coach for enforcing discipline would set a dangerous precedent. Yet, business-minded executives see SHEDEUR as an investment, not just a player, and investments must be protected. If the Browns start losing games and the offense looks lifeless, it could accelerate tough decisions. There's even talk of Deion Sanders getting involved personally, calling ownership to defend his son's reputation. Imagine that, two strong-willed men, both used to being in charge, clashing over control of a franchise that's already spinning out of it. The NFL loves drama, but Cleveland might have just written a whole new script. Through it all, one thing's certain. This story isn't going away anytime soon. STEFANSKI's words, "He's not playing for me," will echo through every Browns broadcast, podcast, and highlight reel until someone officially breaks the silence. The next press conference will be must-watch TV, and every body language expert in America will be analyzing STEFANSKI's expression and SHEDEUR's tone. If the two can somehow reconcile, it could become a powerful redemption story about respect and growth. But if not, we might be witnessing the early collapse of yet another Cleveland experiment, one that started with promise and swagger and now teeters on the edge of implosion. For Browns fans, it's déjà vu, hope turned to chaos, optimism swallowed by drama. And for the rest of the league, it's just another reminder that in the NFL, success isn't just about talent or strategy. It's about chemistry, humility, and the fragile balance between power and pride. Thanks for riding with us on another Browns Blitz. If you liked the video, share it with a fellow fan, hit subscribe, and ring that bell so you're always part of the Dawg Pound conversation. Go Browns!